Welcome to this tutorial on how to write text, shapes, labels, and tables onto the price action zone.
Please proceed after reading the terms of use.
Your pinescript code, whether in the form of indicators or strategies, are quite useless unless it effectively communicates to you and to other people what it is doing and what it has found out and what it has decided. You can get some useful information from the strategy tester subzone, but those information are not enough, especially if your pinescript code is quite sophisticated. The schematic diagram on the screen shows the 10 different ways that a pinescript code can communicate with people. You should master how to code these communication techniques so that your code will be valuable and usable. In this tutorial, I will give you a step-by-step demonstration. The 4 basic ways are listed on the screen. 1. Plot char. 2. Plot shape. 3. Label. 4. Table. I will now explain a code that includes these 4 ways, so you will have a good idea of how they are done. A pinescript code is like a black box, unless you make it communicate to yourself and to people using specific statements within the code. You and they will have no idea of how the code performed or what it was doing. I will now explain a code that includes these 4 ways, so you will have a good idea of how they are done. First, I open the price action of Amex, which currently does not have any characters or text or shapes or labels or tables on it that were generated by my pinescript code. Next, I will open the code that I pre-created, which includes the 4 basic ways of displaying characters, shapes, and text strings onto the price action zone. I will explain step by step how the code block of each way corresponds to what is added to the price action zone. Please see the first plot char statement, which displays the small umbrella character pointing up with the text R. Whenever the close price of the current bar is rising compared to those of the last 5 bars, the umbrella character can be replaced by any Unicode character, of which there are hundreds. The R character can be replaced by a character string, such as rising. Now see the second plot char statement. There is something strange happening here. The specified greater than character and the text H are displayed over all the bars. Why? The reason is because the plot char function expects a Boolean value as its first parameter. But I have specified ta.highest, which returns a positive numeric value at each bar. This value is not a Boolean true or false, but it seems that Tradingview interprets a positive value as true, at least in this case. Thus, because the first parameter is true at each bar, the greater than and H characters are shown at each bar. Next, let me show you how the char shape statement works. You can see the character string, SHB, falling with the Unicode arrow pointing down below, which I specified in the char shape statement. The large cross, or X above the character string, is the default shape that is displayed. This appears whenever the current close is falling compared to those of the last 5 bars. These are the icons or shapes that you can specify in the char shape statement. Let me quickly delete the characters and shapes displayed so far, so the price action looks clean. Now I block out or comment out the char and char shape statements so their texts and shapes will not appear anymore when I next add this code to the chart. Let's look at the label.new statement. You can see the character string which I specified in the label.new statement. I embedded new line in the string such that there are 3 lines displayed. I also specified that a flag is displayed. This appears whenever the remainder is 0 when the current bar index value is divided by 25, which occurs every 25th bar. These are the icons that can be displayed with the label statement. Finally, let us analyze the table method. This method differs from the plot char and plot shape methods in that its position is static on the price action zone or screen. I think the technical term is that it is floating on the screen. That is, even when you move the price action left or right, it remains anchored to its original position. Let me now explain in detail the char arrow function. As a bonus, I will give you a peek on how I manage different and progressive versions of my code. I'll also demonstrate some of my coding and testing techniques. Have a look at this chart. It is comprised of arrows drawn by the char arrow statement. The big green line was drawn by a plot statement with step lines specified. Watch me zoom in and out. I do that by rolling my mouse wheel whilst I press the Alt button. So I do not end up with hundreds of indicator and strategy scripts. I practice version management within the same code instance or ID. Watch my cursor as I point out to you the notes that I have inserted in my code, which specifies the main feature of each version of my code. By doing this, I can recall any of the version number, display the code, and add that code to the chart. I can also restart code modifications from any of the versions. My cursor is pointing at the part of the code which I have blocked out or commented out, such that their texts and icons will not appear in the chart when I add the code to the chart. This allows me to show only the plot arrow shapes on the chart, so I can concentrate on them. Now let's look at the plot arrow code block which I made. It has two plot arrow statements, plus additional lines which define what I plot. The last line is a simple plot statement that creates step lines. I have disabled the entire plot arrow code block by commented it out, so I can show the output of each plot statement one by one. Now I enable the codes of the first plot arrow statement, so I can see what it puts out on the chart. You can now see the downward blue arrows and the upward yellow arrows put out by the first plot arrow statement. Now, let's disable the first plot arrow statement and enable the second plot arrow statement instead, and see what comes out. You can see the pair of arrows outputted by the second plot arrow statement. Next, I'll disable the second plot arrow statement and enable the plot stepline statement instead. Then I again add the code to the chart. You can see the green step line dancing around the black price action line. Finally, I'll enable all the codes so that we'll see all the arrows and the step line on the chart. Inspect the chart closely. You'll see 1. That the arrows on the bar have merged. 2. The lengths of the arrows vary. That is because the length is proportional to the value that the arrow corresponds to. 3. The step line is a good addition. I am tempted to convert this code into a strategy code and use the price action line and the green action line to decide when I buy and sell. Maybe I'll do that in a separate follow-up tutorial. Before finishing this tutorial, let me briefly go back to the subject of tables. A table news statement creates a table with the specified number of columns and rows, which are numbered from 0 However, it does not populate the cells, that is, it does not put contents into cells. It also does not display the table. Once a table is created, it must be populated using one table cell call for each cell. Only then will the table become visible. Table cells can contain text or nothing. Aside from the single cell table explained before, shown on the screen are two examples of advanced usage of the table feature. Often, I use tables with the array feature of pinescript. I'll explain all that in my separate tutorial on tables. Thanks for watching. Have fun.